DeckStars Entertainment.
Well, thank you guys. That was awesome. Hey, if that doesn't get you pumped up, I don't know what will. Check your pulse. You may be dead if you didn't enjoy that. All right. So, guys, I'm so happy we have so many here to watch you again here for our second installment of Regal Ideas webinars. So, thank you all for coming today. This is fantastic. Let's get right into it. Let's show you what today is all about. First and foremost, you're going to be excited because we're going to see once again, as I just mentioned, we have the Brolaws here live. You know, famous on HGTV. These guys are quite a dynamic duo that you're really going to love and enjoy. So let's go a little bit more into the slide presentation. What I want to be able to show you here today, ladies and gentlemen, and I really want you to know this, we at Regal really would like to work with you. It's about partnerships. It's about working with you and helping build your business, because in turn, it obviously helps build ours. So we're very excited about this opportunity for you to learn about Regal ideas and work with us. Additionally, this is about the DeckStars program. This is a brand new initiative we've launched this past year. We did have some training sessions go across North America, but obviously it was cut short by the COVID pandemic. And now we've gone online, and the Brolaws have headlined this. So basically the opportunity that exists for people out there today to become a DeckStar, we're in desperate need of finding people who are certified installers. We want to get people trained on Regal out there, because we have so many people coming to us on our website asking for a certified professional. And also retailers out there are also looking for us as well, looking for a certified installer. So if we can help drive those sales down to you, it costs you nothing. We just want you to invest a little bit of time to learn about our products. With that, you're going to be a DeckStar pretty soon. So the advantages of being a DeckStar, you know, for us, it's going to and yourself, it's going to eliminate product callbacks due to poor installation. We want to capture that product and warranty information. That's essential for a customer. So if we get that information back, we can go back and see if this is a warranty situation. But more importantly, what we really want to do is show you how to install more in less time and make you more money. The certification process, basically, I know a lot of you already out there have attended 2 now of the training modules. There are 4. We'll have 2 more. I'll mention those a little bit later on in the event here today. But if we can get you to do 2 of these events, you're going to become on your way to become a certified DeckStar. We need you to install 2 projects and submit the projects into us. We'll give the certification approval process, and then once we've got that in place, you're going to be a certified DeckStar. Of course, we're going to need the proper insurances. Make sure you have those insurances in place, and also that you're a registered business. And this is a very important one, and I know the guys can back me up on this, the social media. I tell you, it's one of the most important things that can help you build your business today. Instagram is crazy. I think these guys are even doing TikTok. Like, that's all I hear my kids talk about now. So guaranteed it's going to be the next big thing. So as I previously mentioned, with DeckStars, with Regal Ideas, we're all about support. We want to help you learn about our products so you can better translate that into sales with your customers. And any support we want to give, whether it's, you know, direct customer support, brochures, planners, handhelds, any marketing support we can do, we want to be able to help you. And of course, the lead generation, which is what I hope you're here for, we want to push that down, those sales down to you. Also, I want to point out the fact that you're here today is to learn about Crystal Rail and installation of it. You know, Crystal Rail came out in 2017, and in 2 short years, Crystal Rail has won 9 National Deck Awards at the NADRA events. So 9 awards in 2 years. So it's been fabulous. People love it. It's a fantastic product. You know what? And with NADRA, if you haven't belonged to NADRA, you should. Definitely check them out. It's nadra.org. Go to there, sign up for these guys. They're basically a government lobby group that can really help you, with your business. But they're also, they give you the latest code information. So very important business tips, lots of good customer information in there. So you really want to check out Natter and make sure you sign up. And also there's a free magazine that they give away as well, and that's the Deck Specialist. So you can check that out online as well, Deck Specialist. So guys, enough about me rambling. I can go on and on about, you know, Crystal Rail, how beautiful the glass system it is. It's the most clear. It's got no iron in the glass, so it's like 99% iron free. So you can see it's the crystal clear view. So that's why they call it Crystal Rail. So guys, you know, take it away. All right.
Basically, what Joe said is Crystal Rail wins awards.
Darn right.
Boom. Something I wanted to talk about first before we get into everything is this whole DeckStars community that we're working with Regal to be able to build. It's something that's going to be seriously vetted people. So it is going to be something that's going to add to your credentials that you are able to put forward when you're trying to sell a project. Not just anybody can become a DeckStar. There's a lot of websites out there where you can sign up for it, and at the end of the year, you get an award. No matter how many projects you did for it, just because you paid the money, they're going to say you are the best of whatever website it is, Trusted Pros, Homestars. With DeckStars, we want to create something that is going to stand out and help you stand out in amongst the competition around you and in your area. So that way people can find you better and they know that they're getting somebody who is really skilled. Kevin from NFDI Deck and Fence, he's been doing some deck safety stuff, and I don't know if you've seen his Instagram videos, but he was walking through a Regal railing installation that was absolutely terribly done. The glass was falling out, shattering. It was put together with the wrong bolts, the fasteners, everything was done wrong. So we want to make sure that Regal Ideas, Crystal Rail, all of their products are being represented properly out there by you guys who are installing them, because we don't want these failures. We don't want that represented with the brand. So I hope that you are excited to learn about Crystal Rail. It is one of our favorite products to install because it's so easy. We love Regal Ideas, the aluminum railing system, because it's easy. Crystal Rail is even faster. It's easy to install. It's going to make you money.
And even better looking. And that's what another thing that we love about Crystal Rail and Regal railing is kind of as you upscale into these nicer looking railings, for the installer, they actually get easier to install as they get better looking. So not only is your client paying a premium for a really nice railing, but it's faster for you to put it on. So it's so easy to sell. You're not trying to sell them on something that's going to be a pain in the butt to install. It just gets easier for you. So.
Yeah, I say that like Joey is Regal Ideas aluminum and I'm Crystal Rail. So you upgrade to a nicer model, a little bit more beautiful.
Or you're just easier, either one.
Oh, wow, that's true too, though.
All right, so we're going to get into the install here. Well,
nice work.
You're welcome, Joe. First step is always going to be preparation. Before you do any of the Regal railings, making sure that you're prepared at the framing stage to do the install after your decking goes down is key to make sure you have all the blocking in the right place, especially if you don't have good access under the deck. If you're at that lower kind of 2 feet to 5 feet range where you're going to have to crawl around on your belly underneath the deck, you're better to have your blocking already in place. So we like to try to map out at the framing stage where everything is going to lay out. That way we can do the proper blocking.
So we've already kind of pre-laid out on our deck here for these pods that we're going to be installing. Mounting brackets, pods, that's kind of what we call these. That's what we're referring to. Mm-hmm. So Joey's going to kind of walk you through how he marked it out. And I'm going to do my best cameraman job to show you what we got.
So these are the pods. You're going to get 2 of them with each railing section. And when we're marking those out, you really want to just make sure you have the anchoring points going down into solid meat. So there's 2 ways to
get your head down here, Joey.
Oh, sorry.
Come on, there you go.
I'm just talking to my hands. You want to make sure that you're anchoring these properly, and that's so important with this system because these mounting brackets are the only thing holding the glass up. It's a postless and railless system, so these pods are holding everything. So they need to be anchored well. We can't stress that enough. When we did this across Canada, we came across somebody who said that they came across a job that was a little bit shaky, and the reason why is they had these pods and they were just screwed down into the composite deck boards. There wasn't any blocking underneath. That is incredibly dangerous, especially on a second story deck. So we can't stress enough this mounting portion, how crucial that is. So let's talk about these for a second. These are the 2 1/4 lag bolt that Regal has. These are not for mounting down any posts or these pods. What they are coming out with, what they already have with their urban rail line, and they're coming out with the Regal line, is these structural screws. So these are fantastic. These are what we use on a lot of our installs. You want to make sure with your inspector that they're okay with you using a structural screw to mount down the post with. Some of them are still hesitant to see these on a site, so they might want you to use an actual lag bolt.
Yeah, and Regal Ideas has engineering for both the bolt down as well as another version that we're going to show you.
Yeah, so these are the lag bolts that they have as well.
So make sure that you have the proper engineering report that you're submitting to your city with the project, so that way you're matching the way you're installing each pod with what you've shown the inspector, just to make your life easier, right?
And just to touch on that, they do have all, like Dave said, they have all the engineering reports available. So they can send those to you if your inspector requires them. That way you can send them in with your building permit so that they have all the info they need.
Yeah. So we've got a bunch of different blocking options, similar to your Regal rail. We've got one that's got a 6x6 block there, so that you've got lots of meat to lag down into. You can do some vertical blocking to make sure that those lag bolts are going into it. We've got a triple block over here, so that you know that those pods are going to be secure in your glass. And lastly, this is one of the other versions of installing these pods.
So this is the through bolt method. A lot of inspectors will require this just because this is the strongest method whenever possible, is to do a complete through bolt. So you can buy a pack of 4 3/8 6-inch structural bolts, which are these guys here, and then the mounting plate that acts like a washer that goes on the underside here. And it comes with the nuts as well, so you can see that washer plate mounts underneath with your through bolts going right through and the nuts on the underside. So that's going to be your best method, but you definitely have to make sure that you prepare for that if that's the method you're going with. So that's why we talk about preparation in the framing stage. You want to make sure you know where all of your mounting brackets are going to go. That way you know you've got space between the joists to do your double block. So you can go through bolt and have the washer underneath.
Yeah, because this system with the metal plate underneath, obviously you can't put that somewhere with a joist running down the middle of it. You don't want to cut this plate out and put it on either side of the joist. You're taking all the structural integrity out of it. So if that is the case and you are using these, what we like to do is cut our joist back and put a double block across, and then that way we can fill that space to allow this plate to be used for the anchoring. So that's what Joey was saying, kind of marking out your pods ahead of time to know where they go, so you can adjust your framing before you get decking on it, so that you're already prepared for your installation. Obviously, the top mounted lag bolts are going to be one of your easiest option. That way you can just frame your deck out, mark out your pods, put blocking where you need it, bolt it down, and you're good to go. That's kind of our preferred method. Yep. But if you run across an inspector who needs those metal plates, make sure you take that extra step in the framing process.
Hey guys.
Yep.
Can you mount those? Ryan Carney has a message. I'm not sure where you're from, Ryan, but it'd be great if you could let me know. But can you mount those to a concrete pad?
Ryan's from Stouffville. He's a friend of ours from Instagram. And yes, you can mount them to concrete. Just make sure you're using the right anchor bolt fasteners. So drilling out a hole, putting in an anchor bolt, and having that bolt come out the top. So that way when you put your plate down, your crystal rail pod, then you can thread your nut from the top and attach it that way. So you can mount it to concrete, just make sure you're following the proper procedures.
Yeah, they have those sleeve anchors available. They are in stainless steel, so they will not.
I'd probably go with a 6-inch sleeve anchor
if you can.
If you can do a 6-inch, and obviously it depends on how thick the concrete is that you're attaching into. So
but it can be done.
Your crystal rail is only as strong as the structure you're putting it on, right? So even with a deck, that's why you've got the blocking going across, because the blocking is tying in your joists, it's tying in the deck boards, and it's locking everything together so that that pod is one with the deck. Obviously, that is the only point of hold for the glass. So that pod and that attachment point is very crucial.
Very crucial. So now you know where all your pods are going to go. You've got your blocking in place. There are 2 mounting brackets per piece of glass. Your glass comes in 24-inch all the way up to 60-inch, and those are in 6-inch increments. So there are 7 sizes of glass that you can get. We find that that setup works for pretty much any deck. You shouldn't need any custom sizes in there because we've been able to use that for any setup. And then your pods are going to be set up 8 inches to 14 inches in from the edge of the glass. So when you're marking it out, am I getting ahead of myself?
A little bit, but I think
Okay.
you're doing good.
I got excited. So here's an example of the pod. These are where you're going to get the mounting bracket.
We're going to unbox this for you. A live unboxing.
Very excited.
So you want to open it up, and inside every package, there are these clear spacers that go on at the end of the project. The packaging, so eloquently designed by Andrew, those spacers fit well into this little spot on the packaging, so sometimes they can go unnoticed. So make sure you don't throw out the package without these. There's 2 of them for every crystal rail pot.
So while we're unboxing, we just make sure we take these and we have just a cardboard box on site that we'll throw all of these into so that they're all in one place.
So now opening it up out of the pod, we have inside 2 gaskets with metal plates on them. So these are what pinches the glass in between the pod, holds it in place, and you can use them to level and adjust the glass. Again, take those out, make sure you put them somewhere safe in that same box. You don't need multiple boxes, you're just gonna lose things.
All in one box.
Make sure everything's there. Then you're gonna have your bottom plate, your base plate, same thing. Set that aside, make sure that you know where it is and that you don't lose it. Now inside here, you can see the piece de la resistance.
The LED light.
This is what separates Crystal Rail from any other frameless, railless glass system, is this LED light. Regal Ideas put a lot of engineering into this pod. A lot of money and testing went into this. I believe with the glass in there, it can hold up to an 800-pound side impact.
Yeah.
So making sure that you're using the proper products to install it. They put in the time and effort to create it. Make sure you do it right. But like I said, there's other glass systems out there that are frameless and railless, but they don't have this light, and this is what sets it apart by far.
And Joe also mentioned the fact that it is iron-free glass. So they've removed the right amount of iron from the glass itself to allow that LED light to actually shine through and light up the perimeter of the crystal rail glass. We're gonna, once we have everything set up here, we'll kill the lights in here and show you guys the lighting, but that is what completely sets it apart and why you need to use their glass with their system. Otherwise, it just doesn't work properly. If you do regular tempered glass in there, the light isn't going to be able to pass through the way it does with crystal rail glass.
So on the underside here, I'll take this little piece off and show you inside here. The light itself is right in there. And there is now an attachment point so that you can disconnect the light without removing the whole pod to change out a light. So if a light burns out for whatever reason, you can take it apart this way by just removing the glass. You don't have to remove everything else.
And you can unscrew the LED and then replace it. So you don't have to take out the whole wire. And now Dave's going to put that back together while we talk. So yeah, now you've ordered your pods. You're making sure you get 2 mounting brackets per piece of glass. That is required. You cannot hold it up with 1. So make sure you have 2 per, and that's the same with all the way up to 60 inches. You only need 2 on the outside edges. I had mentioned the spacing in from the edges of the glass to make sure that you are 8 to 14 inches in from the edge of the glass. The reason why we say 8 to 14 is as you get to the bigger sheets of glass, particularly towards the 60-inch width, you want to bring them in closer to that 14-inch space. That's just for light dispersion, to make sure that the light is evenly throughout the perimeter of the glass. If you keep them at the 8-inch distance in for the larger pieces of glass, you can end up with a little bit of a dead spot in the middle. Not a huge deal, but you just get better light as those mounting brackets move in.
Great question about the wind, and yes, so it is an 800 pounds of force. So whether that's wind or whatever, they have tested it to be able to withstand that. And they've also done it to be able, it's been tested up to 12 floors. So 12 stories high, you can install crystal rail.
Yep, and you can also, I'm going to say this, and I'm pretty sure it's correct. You can take that 60-inch piece and you can flip it up so that it's 60 inches tall as well to create a wind wall.
Oh, you can, Joey?
Andrew says
you can do that?
So that's particularly important for the mounting to a concrete pad around for a pool wall, like Andrew so eloquently just said. So if you're doing it around a pool, you can stand those up all the way around the pool so that you have that 5-foot height all the way around.
Oh, wow. Or you could even make it a little accent piece. You could go like low, low, high. You could go like
Okay.
low, high. You could do lots of things. It all
These are all
depends
the
on how
things
you
we
want to
do.
design it. Now, Joey, you have marked out these pods. We've got 3 of them fastened. We're going to fasten this one, but Joey's going to show you how he marked them out.
So this is how I like to do it. So Dave and I will typically take and we'll do little marks on our deck surface that represent the edges of the glass. So we'll go around before we start mounting the pods and mark little lines that represent the glass to make sure that we have the proper spacing between them. You want to be from 1.5 inches to 4 inches between the pieces of glass. And this is how I will mark out the pod. So I don't know if you're going to be able to see this.
they can see it really well.
Excellent. So I've got the edge of the glass and I've already come in 8 inches. So the center mark there is the center of the pod. Now what I like to do is come out 1 7/8 inches, and that represents these mounting holes. So I'll go 1 7/8 inches off center in each direction, and then I'll just bring those lines out to where I want it to mount so that I know it's going right down into the rim board. So I'll bring those lines out, make a little crosshairs, and now I know those crosshairs are right where these 2 holes will go.
What about drilling a hole for the light, Joe?
So you want to make sure you drill out to allow the wire to drop down into place. So that spot where you want to drill out is right over here. There's an opening here and you can see the wire coming out. You want to make sure you drill your hole right in this opening, because if you drill it in the center of the pod and try to run your wire down, it's going to get pinched underneath that mounting bracket, and that's going to stop the light from working because now you pinched the wire.
Yeah, you definitely don't want your bolts going through your wire, Michael Scott.
So make sure you drill that spot and then you go straight down. Now, an important note here, if you want to follow me down. For this mounting bracket, if you're doing this style of mounting, make sure when you drill that hole for the wire that you go on a bit of an angle to either come out the center hole here or through the outside here. If you just drill straight down, you're going to end up right where this bracket is and you're not going to be able to find your wire. So just go down on a bit of an angle so you're coming out the middle or the outside.
Lighting can be temperamental, even just a pinched wire, because of how tight you're fastening down these pods. A pinched wire is going to ruin your connection and it's not going to connect to that pod. And with it being a loop system, you're going to find out that you're not going to have a lot of them lit together. So
I'm just going to drill out that hole. I'm going to use a 7/8 spade bit to drill out for my wire. And that's going to allow that to slide right down in. So.
Oh, wow, that was fast. I was going to do a little drilling dance and you just flew right through that.
It's a brand new spade bit.
Fresh bit.
So
I'm going to zoom in here.
Zoom in. So now that I've drilled out that hole, I can feed the wire down first. Again, just making sure that no part of that wire is pitched. And I can go right down onto my hash marks. Now, this is the part of program where we say do as we say, not as we do. I'm going to use this little lag, but that's just because
times are tight, guys. It's COVID, all right?
Now you want to make sure you leave these a little bit loose. Don't lock them down tight right away.
Oh, Joey's about to tell you a hot tip.
Hot tip.
Hot tip. It's Tuesday, too. So when you get your bolts in, like he was saying, leave them a little bit loose. And what you're going to want to do is take something that's about 1 inch, 1.25 inches thick. We like to use just an offcut of a Regal aluminum railing. If you're working with a PVC deck, you can use a piece of that. You can use 5/4 board, whatever you want. You can cut it down to the size of the glass that you have. You can mark in the 8 inches that you want in from the glass on it. And then you can set into the pod to help line them up. Allen key.
Yeah, so what we've done here is we've just taken that bottom rail and set it into the pods. Now the reason this is so important is you want these pods to be lined up with one another.
If one pod was twisted one way and one the other way, think of trying to slide this piece of glass in, which is straight, to something that is not. We did this and we learned the lesson. So sliding a piece of that in and then tightening your bolts is going to ensure that they're both straight to each other. Kind of fun talking in between impact drives.
That's just going to make your life a whole lot easier when it comes to actually dropping those glass sections in. So you are locked in place. You've made sure to poke the wire down underneath. Once these are locked in, a very important step in the process is to take these cover plates for those bolts and to put them on at this point. Because if you forget and then go around and install all your crystal rail glass and take the time to level everything up and then realize that you didn't put them on, you have to start over again. That happened to us as well.
So awkward.
Learn from our mistakes. So go around and put all your base plates on at this point before you get to your glass.
So now, before you put your glass in, you're going to want to hook up your lighting system, because that's what makes crystal rail so amazing. You can install this without lights. I don't know why you would bother, because it looks so much better with lights. So just buy the transformer, man. Sell the client. Tell them
Either
they're gonna
way,
love it.
the LED is installed in each mounting bracket. You can't get the mounting brackets without the light. So it is a lit up system. So just make sure you get the transformer and one T-splitter. You'll need one of these with each section of rail. You need one T-splitter, and this is what's going to connect it to your transformer.
Now, I am reading off of my cheat sheet that one LED transformer operates 20 panels of glass. That's 40 bases.
40 bases off of one transformer, and if you need to go beyond that, you just add another transformer underneath.
That's a lot.
Guys, there was
So
a question. Sorry to interrupt. There's a question
All
from
good.
Jay. Do you need a rubber base plate from the bottom so no scratching the deck? Do you need
Nope,
a-
shouldn't need a rubber
No.
base plate. You're gonna be mounting it. Obviously, just be careful when you're in that mounting process, the same as you are with any deck. You don't want to be scratching things, dragging things around. It is metal, but it's very nicely finished metal, so it's not like sharp, jagged edges to it.
Yep.
And once you're mounting that in place, it's gonna stay there, so you don't have to worry about any scratching.
And you're not going to have any chemical reaction with that and any decking surface because it's completely coated underneath. So it doesn't matter what you're putting it on top of, it will not have a chemical reaction or rust. So no need to worry there.
So every glass panel, again, needs 2 bases, and that's why you need the T-splitter. So you take your transformer, RF controller, connect them. It's very, very easy connections. If you can see that, you've got a male end, female end, put them together, a little screw lock to lock everything in place. Then from your RF controller, you have your line that's going to connect to your first lead.
This is your T-splitter. So again, very easy. You can see they've even got a square notch on the top so you know right how to connect it. It should slide in nice and easy. You shouldn't have to force it. If you're forcing it,
Yeah.
you're probably bending one of the prongs. So
Yeah.
it should slide in nice and easy.
That's important. You can see there are 2 little metal prongs in there. So make sure when you're connecting that you're not going to bend those. Connects in nicely, screws.
This is all
tight.
low voltage and it's all plug and play. You do not need an electrician. You can do it yourself.
I'm gonna go
We
get
believe in you.
power.
Radiator is. Radiator.
You already got power.
I've already got power. I
Oh my
prepared
goodness!
it. So each of these T-splitters has that bigger end that connects to the controller, and then these 2 smaller leads that will go up to the pod wires that you poke down through your deck.
Did you not bring this wire down through the deck?
That's all.
This is why you connect everything before you put your glass in. Wire. Poke that through.
Mount that pod.
I think you drilled the holes in the right place.
There
it
he
is.
goes. So again, just really crucial to remember when you're drilling that hole down for your wire lead.
Good.
All good. To make sure you don't go on an angle where your lag bolts are going to go down through so that you don't pierce the wire. To make sure you either go straight down or into the middle. Reaffirm that note for everybody.
Pre-drilling those holes in can be helpful, especially if you're on the edge of a PVC deck board. You don't want to split. Pre-drill those before you put them in. Helpful little note. So wire.
We'll come down here. You can see the lead coming down from the mounting bracket.
One connection.
We'll connect into there.
It's got a nice little gasket on it too. And once that screws on, you've got a good connection.
Weatherproof connection. Next one goes here. And then you'll see your lead just keeps on going. So that's going to connect to our next mounting bracket, our next light, So it's just a little daisy chain that goes right across.
You have another one of those?
Got to open up the box right here.
All right.
You will also notice on your T-splitter that it has boopity boop. This funky end, you'd have to take that off if you're doing a continuous line. If this is in the middle of your line, you leave this on if it's at the end of the line. So this kind of acts as a cap to cap off the end of the line. So I can just leave that on actually, because we're at the end of our line,
We are.
our 2 Regal rail lines.
So again, while you're making all these connections, we like to turn the system on to make sure that each light is connecting as you're making those connections and you haven't screwed anything up. So with the LED lighting system, you've got this nice little key fob to turn them on and off. You don't want to lose this. I mean, you can get another one from Regal if you want, but make sure that the homeowner keeps this around. They're also developing an app to be able to control everything off of your phone. So when that is all out, then you can get that upgrade for your clients as well. But we just press the little on button, and if you can see, wait, Joey, wait. Lights are on. Joey is about to connect that one. The light comes on. So this way you're just paying attention, making sure that everything is lit as you're going around. You don't want to make all your connections, put all your glass in, end of the day, go to press it on and it's not working and you're frustrated and it's because one of those prongs didn't go in properly, you broke it, you twisted it, and now you got to go around the whole deck figuring out which one it was.
Yeah, so just do it live. Again, it's plug and play, it's low voltage, it's not going to electrocute you. Yes, Jay, we do have issues with wildlife. That doesn't change anywhere. So that's just making sure that for the deck build portion that you make sure you have proper skirting that goes down to the ground a little bit.
Yeah.
And
But
tucking
also-
everything up nicely.
Yeah, because they are just little loop chains between each one, making sure you go around the bottom of your deck, fastening it up underneath, just going to help prevent that, hopefully. But who knows, you might have an annoying raccoon or squirrel that just needs a little warmth, you know, needs a little LED love.
An important note for that, if you are going to staple up your wires to make them nice and neat, still leave a little bit of slack just in the lead line that goes up into your mounting bracket. That way, if that LED bulb does have any issue down the road, you still have slack to be able to pull it up and change it out. If you make it too tight, you won't be able to pull that out later on. So just leave a little bit of slack in that line.
Yep. Commonly asked question is if some lights are coming on, some aren't coming on. What you need to do is just sync the system. So with your remote, by holding the on and off, see if we can bring it in to see if you can see the flicker. Holding the on and off button, the lights will flicker. Now they'll still turn on. There's 4 different frequencies. So now they're turned on.
Just making sure you're syncing everything up so that all the pods are blinking at the same time, and then they're all being controlled by the one remote. So they should keep turning on because you're syncing them with it. But
Yep.
yeah, so for the Regal system, their aluminum rail, everything's the same frequency. So you need to get a different controller if you want to switch it. With Crystal Rail, one remote can cycle through different frequencies. So even if your neighbor, if they end up having a Crystal Rail system go in as well, and you notice that you're controlling their lights, you can change your frequency so that your systems are on different ones.
So I would say yes, the wiring could be buried in soil, Ryan. Obviously, it just depends on what you're mounting those brackets to. So, I mean, if you had concrete footings going down that you were mounting it to, and then you had maybe a garden in between, then yes, you could definitely bury those wires underneath. The connections and seals on them are all really, really tight. It's a thick coated wire on it, so it's going to be able to withstand any moisture and stuff from underneath being buried. So you should be able to do that fine. So yeah, making sure your remote frequency is set. It happened to us once where we turned it on. We had some lights on, some lights off, and we were like, what's going on? We thought it was a bad connection. We called Andrew and he told us that you just have to play with those frequencies to get them all on the same frequency. So you might have to play with it a couple times.
Yeah, you know, turn them off so they don't get a.
Okay, we're gonna turn them off so that we don't spoil anything. So that's pretty much it. You've got your pods mounted. You've got your electrical run. You have remembered to put on all of your base plates, and now you get to put the glass in.
So these are the mounting plates that you put aside. They have that rubber coating on them so that it's not metal right on tempered glass. So you have 2 of these per section. Just make sure that you have them faced to the glass the right way. So there's a smooth side, which faces the glass, and then this side in the back, which has the holes drilled out, and that's where the Allen keys put the pressure on the actual metal. So we'll put these in. Now, this is 10 mil tempered glass. It is much heavier than the other 6 mil tempered glass for the Regal system, so it is heavy.
And it's low iron.
Low iron. I'm going to talk for as long as I can just because Dave's holding it by himself. But as you get into bigger sections, it is really important to have 2 guys holding each piece of tempered glass. For those of you who have not worked with tempered glass before, watch the edges. This is where the fragile point of the glass is. You can put 800 pounds of pressure right here as hard as you want. It will not do anything. If you drop or tap this onto concrete or stone or metal, this will explode into a billion little cubes. Do not do that because, well, it's a mess to clean up and nobody wants to deal with that. So watch your edges when you're carrying it in, when you're setting it up, and then once it's in place, it is rock solid unless somebody smashes the edge of the head.
Hey, Joey.
Yeah.
I'm a little cheap and I want to buy glass from my glass manufacturer because I think my glass manufacturer is the best glass manufacturer in the world.
Yep.
And I don't want to use Regal's expensive glass.
Yep.
What do you think about that?
Well, first of all, it's not that expensive, and they have everything in stock for you, Dave.
Oh,
so
wow.
they have millions of pieces of glass that are in stock and ready to ship out to you.
But what if they don't have the size that I need?
Then
What sizes did they come in, Joe?
we already went through all this. We're
Okay.
not paying attention.
Okay.
Really.
No, I wasn't.
This
I'm
guy
sorry,
doesn't
guys.
even
I was
listen
just
when
trying
we
to be
talk.
funny. I ruined it.
I'll reiterate it for you anyways. 24 inches up to 60 inches in 6-inch increments is the crystal rail glass. They have the little stamp on them. So if you do use somebody else's glass and there's an issue with the system, the first thing they're going to look at is to see if it has the Regal Ideas stamp on your glass, because this stuff is properly engineered for the system. It's the right size. It's the right thickness. Use the glass for the system. For sliding this into place, it's a 2-man job here. You can do it with one guy. It's just going to be a little bit more effort on you. But I'm going to take these gaskets and I'm going to lift them up from the pod and I'm going to separate them a bit to allow for the glass to slide into place. For future ones, we're going to get a third camera guy in here. But so I'll lift them up while Dave drops it in. Dippity-doop, dippity-doop. Slides down into place and your glass is installed just like that. You can shift this around after the fact. It does have a little bit of movement.
I didn't see it on my picture.
That's the beauty of crystal rail. It's there, I promise. Until you get the Allen key and lock those in, they are movable, so you can adjust to make sure your spacing is all perfect.
In the past, we've had sometimes a little bit of a hard time sliding that glass panel in with those gaskets. If you are having a bit of a hard time and it's feeling a little bit tight, taking some Windex, some water, just any type of lubricant to get in between that rubber as you slide the glass in will make it a little bit easier for you.
To answer your question, I think that was Jay. How much does a drunken uncle weigh after a few beers? About the same as a drunken Joey on a deck. I'm a solid 230, and I cannot go through this glass. I've tried, so I can attest for the fact that it will not fall.
So back when we were talking about laying out your rail system, when we pencil mark our glass sizes on our deck, we'll either pencil mark it or we'll take some painter's tape, put it down and draw a pencil on it. That's just going to help guide you as you're lowering that glass panel down. So as a 2-man team, one person lowering the glass and keeping an eye where that edge of the glass should land and the other person holding those gaskets. You can do this yourself. It's just a little bit harder because of the weight of the glass, obviously. But that's just going to help you get it in one time with minor adjustments side to side. So keeping that in mind will just help it go a little smoother and a little faster. So we're going to do the second piece of glass.
Second piece of glass. I can even hold this end, and each of us can hold.
I really want to switch a piece of glass on the live webinar.
Got it?
No.
You don't got it.
Oh, there you go, sir.
Yeah. And in. So you can see how quickly that goes. I mean, we've been kind of explaining our way through this, and we still just got these 2 pieces up in maybe half an hour. And that's explaining every single step. So once you kind of do the system once, you have a system in place on how you like to do it, you can slam this system together so fast once you know where all the pods are going to go. You're screwing those in. You have guys coming in behind, dropping all the glass in. then it's just a matter of adjusting them and putting the brackets on, and it just flies.
So when we talk about adjusting them, you can see as I'm looking down the barrel here of the glass that they're not in line, obviously, right? So as you tighten it with that Allen key, you want to adjust both sides evenly to be able to bring it together. This is weird because it's backwards camera. Oh yeah, see, there you go. So now it's lining up nicely. So you want to line it up that way as well as the tips lining up at the top. Just, you're using an expensive system. You want to take the extra time with it for the client because they've paid a good amount of money for it to make sure everything lines up nice and level. So we'll usually set one of our first panels level, and then you can be able to work off of that, making sure you keep everything in line.
Yeah, the lights, I'm going to kick them up for a second so they can see. I was just going to see for the lighting it up. So one good way to make sure, they can see it with the lights on still. I was just talking about the perimeter, how it lights up as you tighten it in.
Okay.
Now he's on board.
Okay.
So just a quick thing to show you when you're tightening it in, you can see the perimeter of the pod actually lights up as I tighten this, and that's because it's putting pressure on the glass so you can see the perimeter of this start to lighten up. So you have those, boop, turn that back off again. So you have a top set screw and a bottom set screw on each pod. These other two holes are for stair application processes, which we'll talk about quickly after this. Yes, you can just use a string to line them up, but it's best just to use your eye, to be honest. You can stand down at the end of it, and like Dave said, if you start with one level piece and just work everything off that, it's really easy to see that you're lining up the tops of them. And then this next step is what really helps to lock it in.
So these brackets are required for each panel of glass. These are what makes it a continuous rail system. Right now, it's just a single piece of glass, but this clip is going to lock them together. It's very discreet. You don't notice it at the end of the project when you've put it on. It's something that's structural. It's what it's been tested at, so it's required to install. So on these clips, there's two sides. One side has an Allen key in case you need to change it down in the future. So make sure you line that up. And the other side has two little holes on the top to accept epoxy. So I'm going to put this in place with a rubber mallet. You line it up, tap it down. It is a terrifying process because you've just installed expensive glass and now you have to put this clip on it. You want to make sure it's even. How far down does it have to go?
1.5 inches down from the top is where you want to be.
About there.
1.5 inches to 3 inches. Very important to use a rubber mallet. To do that, do not use a metal hammer because like we mentioned, if you miss your swing with your metal hammer and you hit the edge of the glass, again, it will explode. Don't smash it with a metal hammer, use a rubber mallet.
Now the injector.
Like Dave said, you have the two little holes that are going to accept this two-part epoxy. So this is the reverse camera. This is the applicating gun that accepts these. They look rather questionable, so just make sure you let your client know exactly what these are. Don't just let them find them on their own, because that looks super sketchy. So this is going to do 10 clips. So this setup will do 10 of your clips. If you're getting beyond that, you'll need to get another set of just the epoxy. Obviously, you can use the applicator for multiple.
Did you say the tip of the epoxy, putting it in, making sure it's enough and not dripping down?
I'm done.
Okay, so you don't want to put in too much epoxy and have it dripping down as you're putting it in. Pardon?
Especially in the summer.
Yeah, especially in the summer because it's a little bit more runny. So make sure you're paying attention to the epoxy as it's going in. Have a wet rag with you to be able to wipe up as you're going.
Yeah, just put it in a little bit at a time so that it has a chance to set up. These are swivel brackets as well, so that's going to go on your corner. Same as between the glass sections on a corner. You don't want to be beyond 4 inches, so you want to be 1 to 4 inches apart on the corner, and then that bracket swivels to a 90-degree to be able to slide down.
There's also a end bracket for the end of the line of the glass. So whether you're attaching this to the house into the piece of glass, or if you have a color match post, they have end posts that are in the same titanium color as this. Make sure that you get the crystal rail one. It's a slightly different color than the Regal Ideals one. It can mount to the post, which then can mount to the end piece of glass.
Slide that down in place.
Anything else? Shall we show them?
Wait, let me go through our notes and make sure we're not missing anything big.
Missing anything big? 800 pounds.
Stair panels. So we'll chat about the stair panels before we light it up because that's kind of our finishing note.
Right.
That's really nice. So they do come. They have stair panels as well.
As stair pods.
And stair pods. So the stair pods are different because they just have an angled portion to the bottom of the pod. I don't have one to hold up currently, but there's basically an angled portion on a 35 degree, and then the stair glass comes in 3-step up to 5-step. And that's going to be on a 35 degree angle. So everything to do with Regal ideas when it comes to stairs is always set to 35 degrees. So just make sure you have that in mind when you're going to do a crystal rail system with their crystal rail stair glass, that you make sure you do your stairs at that 35 degrees so that it fits on properly.
I mean, with the crystal rail system, you have a little bit more play because you've got the size of the bracket. So you have a little bit of adjustment that you can do with it. But you just want to be careful with that. Also, when we're doing it on the stairs, you kind of want the glass to line up nicely as it's going along. So there's a lot of planning involved with stairs, the amount of steps, the size of the glass, to make sure that you don't have a bigger than 4-inch gap between each piece of glass.
Absolutely. I'm trying to read this question that's on here.
Yeah, if you are hooking up a non-crystal railing for stairs, is there any way getting around having 2 separate posts? That is, tie into a crystal rail post with a normal picket stair railing.
Yeah, so you can use so if you're using like a black picket railing system, you can use this clip to be able to mount the crystal rail to it. So if you want to just have crystal rail going around, like say the front face of the deck, to be able to conserve and work with a client's budget, you can have crystal rail on the front face, which is going to be the most visible face for the beautiful view that they have. Then you can run your aluminum railing system down the sides or downstairs, and you just want to use that end bracket to attach your aluminum system to the crystal rail system. So that way you're locking both of them together to create your beautiful hybrid.
So this will connect to any post, and it swivels as well. So if you are going onto a weird angle, you can swivel that into place.
Yeah. So you can really adapt it to whatever the clients need, right? So giving them the option for crystal rail is obviously a nice upgrade for them. You're giving them a very high-end product. I like to kind of say to people, this is a product that you can make a lot of money on because you can sell it high because it's a high-end product. Getting your first one under your belt might be the tricky thing to do. So maybe for your first crystal rail project, you eat a little bit of money, you talk to Andrew, you talk to your Regal rep, say, I really, really want to do a crystal rail. Can you help me out to get my first project? Regal Ideas is so helpful, and they want to work with you guys because they want to see you succeed so that they can succeed, so that we can all succeed. So talk to your rep about that, see if they can hook you up so that you can get that first crystal rail project under your belt. Once you get one and you have that under your portfolio, you put it up on your Instagram, make sure you do a lot of media around it to showcase that you can do it and promote it. And then you'll start finding more and more of those jobs coming, because when you show somebody this product, it sells itself, especially if they're on a ravine lot.
Absolutely. So Andrew touched on answering that question, but there is an ADA system that they have as well, so that you can put a graspable handrail down with the crystal rail stair glass. We are going to do a full module on that with, I think it's the 4th module we're doing, if I'm not
Possibly.
one of them. Anyway, so this is that ADA system. So they basically have mounting brackets that mount right to the glass so that you can have a graspable handrail down your railing.
Yeah, it's the same color as everything. It's a nice stainless steel color, so it blends in really nicely. It gives them the security going down the stairs. And again, the stairs aren't going to really be one of those visual viewpoints for somebody. They're not going to be sitting on their stair looking out and be like, oh, why did I have this graspable rail there? It's not that big of a deal. So putting it on there, or if it comes down the side of a deck and mounting it to that or to the side of the house, really doesn't matter. It's going to give them the safety that they need.
And that's why they did it all the color that they did as well, having it the kind of powder coated aluminum color. Some of the questions were, hey, why don't they come in a different color? Why don't they come in black? Was kind of one of the main questions. And honestly, this blends in super well to the background. So once the system's installed, you don't even end up seeing the pods. Dr. Dex did do a system where he really wanted to do it in black because he loves doing black accents. So he got everything powder coated, and he actually ended up regretting it because now the pods stick out more. So having them the color that they are, the anodized aluminum, it kind of just blends into the background. You don't even end up seeing them.
Yeah, and when I'm selling this product, or not necessarily selling, but when I'm presenting it to a client, I'm not going to take one of the pods with me to show them that, because that's not what you're showing them. What you want to do is you want to show them a picture like this where you're seeing no rail at all pretty much. And if you show them the night picture with the glass lit up, they fall in love right away. We've shown a few clients multiple options, and when they see it, they're like, yes, please, I need to have that.
That's the proper investment, right? If
Can we
you're-
show the people?
One more
just
thing,
wanna
I
show
just
the
wanted to
people.
show in close up because I know you
Oh
talked
my
about this up
God.
there. I wanted to show it in close up. So these are the injector holes that need to be facing up. Facing up, yep. And then this is the Allen key that Dave talked about. So if you do have to take off a clip down the road, you need to replace a light or something, it is possible to get these off. Again, they're epoxied on, so it's not going to be fun. But if you remove that Allen key so that it can disconnect from the clip, now this can stay on the glass and the clip can just get separated. So make sure that Allen key is faced the right direction, and you can take it apart if you need.
I'm going to turn off the lights now, and we're going to show you what this looks like.
This is the selling feature, and we hope it transforms over or shows over the camera. So now it's black as night, and there it is. The beautiful glow. So as we said, it's a perimeter lighting system, so you can see, well, you can't see my hand, but you can see how it lights up the perimeter of the glass. And that shines right through. So if you tilt up, Dave, I don't know if they'll be able to see it. If you tilt all the way up, you can see it shining.
Oh, that way.
There it is.
It's lighting
That's
up our ceiling.
That's the ceiling. These are 12-foot ceilings, and you can see that light reaching up to the ceiling, no problem. This stuff creates an immense amount of light, and it's all accent lighting. So it's not in your face. It's not going to blow it up so that everybody in the neighborhood can see you. But it creates a perimeter light all the way around the deck, and it's just a beautiful glow.
It looks really cool when you look down the edge of
It
it.
does, and that really kind of showcases the removal of the iron and how the light bounces around in the glass and gets out to the perimeter. Removing the iron as well is what gives it the blue hue to it. If you have glass that isn't done properly, you can actually end up with a green looking tinge, which just isn't that appealing. This crystal white blue light is what you want to see.
I'm going to go turn the lights back on.
I don't want you to.
Hey, Joey,
Hi.
I noticed that there was a bit of a haze on the glass.
Did you
Is that
Dave?
just from the cardboard box?
That's
that it
just
comes
from the shipping, Dave. You can see that there's a bit of a haze, a bit of a dust on the glass. So to bring back that crystal clear
would you do
finish,
that?
you can get Winans Stovetop Cleaner. That is what we suggest. That just brings back the pure crystal rail look.
Oh,
Wipe that down after you're done installing it for a client so that they never see their glass again.
And yes, we are trying to get sponsorship from Wyman's Glass Top Cleaner.
Is the Wyman's guy here?
I hope so.
Wyman's?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
But yeah, it's a great product. Windex, I don't usually suggest cleaning your glass with Windex for an outside deck because it allows kind of dirt and dust to cling to it. So your glass is going to keep getting dusty. That's Windex's ploy to make you keep using them.
Yep.
So using something like Rain-X or Wyman's to wipe it down, give it that nice clear crystal coating at the beginning, should help with maintenance down the way.
And yes, Jay, you do need to put the epoxy on. That is what's going to lock the clip in place. Without the epoxy, it can end up sliding up and down over time.
Yes.
Will it hold up to Winnipeg winters? Nothing holds up to Winnipeg winters. We were there in the wintertime, and it was terrible.
But yes, it will. Joey is actually wearing the hat, and I'm going to expose his hairdo from the Ultimate Deck Shop. They are in Regina, and
Saskatoon.
Regina and Saskatoon, and they have installed it on a bunch of projects there, and it's held up really, really well. One of the things you find when you're installing it is the client is amazed. They're like, are you sure this is going to hold?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't look like it's going to hold. It's just a piece of glass with some mounts at the bottom.
Yeah.
But it will. People have tested it. Like we said, Regal Ideas puts all of their stuff through the highest testing because they don't want to have it fail on you. So they have tested it beyond what it's approved for.
Yeah. Yes, this is the only color, Ryan, that it comes through because that's the color that gets created. That's the light passes through the low iron glass. So that does not change.
Yeah.
It is the blue.
So that is one of the interesting things with deck lighting and stuff like that, is if you're trying to incorporate your brand of deck light with this light, you are going to have a bit of a different color balance. And that's where I like to tell people that you're giving them options in lighting. So maybe they want to cool the mood a little bit, turn off the Regal rail or the crystal rail lighting. They can turn that off, put on their post lights or whatever other lighting they have to be able to light up the area with a different kind of feeling or mood. And then they can turn those off. They can put the crystal rail on. But we did a project where we had in-light lights as well as crystal rail, and you don't really notice the difference in color temperatures because the railing is its own unit, right?
Yeah.
So all the railing will be lit one way, and then if you have different posts or accent lighting there, then you have that kind of lighting accenting those spots.
Yeah, that was the deck that was actually a part of the video
Yeah.
at the beginning that we did 2 years ago. And yeah, it's completely different style of lighting.
And with the stairs and the stair glass lit, you don't need LED riser lights. The glass lights up each tread quite well.
Yeah.
Some people want them because they want to have the look of it, but I find that with Regal Ideas aluminum railing and with the crystal railing, that the light that comes from it is enough to light up the treads to make it safe.
Yepers.
So switching to phone.
Oh.
New Horizon.
We'll see you soon after you switch to your phone.
All right. Is
What
there
are
any other notes that we missed?
Let's see. We got approved up to 12 floors.
I'm done installing, so I can have my beer now.
Yeah, okay.
I think you've touched on everything, guys.
The other thing we wanted to touch on was the slow close gate. So you can get a piece of the crystal rail and mount that with their slow close gate hardware for your own slow close crystal rail gate.
New product announcement, new Wi-Fi app, timer, photo cell, and security will be coming to the market later this year.
I don't know why you yelled that.
Because, so that is Andrew who said that, who likes to say that everything is coming later this year. Like, hey, I'm going to take you guys to Deck Expo later this year.
No, what Andrew's referring to is the new system they're going to come out. It's going to come in a box like this, but it's going to be Wi-Fi compatible. So if you already have installed the system and your client wants to upgrade to the new Wi-Fi, you just need to buy the new controller system that will be Wi-Fi compatible with their app, and then you just have to swap out the controller.
But I mean, who keeps conversations going with their clients, right? Tail light warranty? No? Oh, no. Okay, sorry.
I keep contact. Dave has a tail light.
So if there's any other questions out there, Chris Wolf.
We are happy to chat about anything.
Anything to do with Regal?
We can talk about Regal. We can talk about business. We can talk about COVID and how businesses are doing, and if you are finding a bit of a slow business right now. So
Jay, I don't know where you are, Jay,
out.
but if you have a local Regal rep, they can get you the catalog and product list.
We can definitely send that out to. Just email us at marketing@regalideas.com. We'll get that to you.
Jay, did you ever work for Paul LaFrance? Because I believe I remembered a Jay Wright working with us at one point. I mean, there's probably plenty of Jay Wrights in the world, but
That's true.
Andrew just gave out his email address. Woo! You guys better bombard that. Just send him all of your questions.
Yeah.
So, as well, video will be up for replay, but we have also done installation videos on these, and Regal has installation videos on these. So you can check them out on their websites and YouTube. You can check us out on Instagram. You can send us questions if you're having problems. We're always happy to answer.
Yep.
You could listen to our podcast. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about. But we have a podcast, so you can listen to our podcast, Breakfast with the Brolaws. See how I just threw that in there?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We actually redid all the install videos last year, so they are just getting edited and they're getting released this year. Jay's a deck fan.
Hi!
Hey, Can I ask you a question?
Oh, sorry, Andrew just asked a question first.
Yeah, Andrew
Tell
asked
us
a
about
question.
your brand. We didn't really talk much about social media, but we are obviously big on social media. We find it's huge for building our brand. We created this company, which is Brolaws Construction, but our brand is Brolaws. So one thing we found huge is social media and partnering up with different companies. And that's what Regal's trying to do. They're trying to partner up with a bunch of different contractors because it really does add credibility. When we walk onto site, people already know who we are, but when we're installing the railing and they see that Regal Ideas is right on the back of our shirts, they know that we're a DeckStar. They know that we're going to install it properly and they're not going to have any issues with it. And just to touch on DeckStars again, another thing that we loved that they're doing with it and something that we've worked with them on is that they're getting other companies involved. This isn't just a Regal Ideas certification, it is a DeckStar certification. So eventually there are going to be other products that are under the same umbrella. So it's not only about Regal Ideas, it's about creating a community called DeckStars, which is going to be the best of the best.
Yeah, and I mean, especially building your brand on social media and tagging and following different people. Instagram is a great community. People on there are very friendly and want to help each other out. At least we are. We want to help build other businesses because as construction gets better and as people showcase nicer jobs, it builds it for everybody. So make sure you're tagging people in your posts. If you do a crystal rail job, make sure you market the shit out of it.
Yeah.
It's a very, very nice product. There's some guy in the States who goes around putting in crystal rail who's absolutely killing it right now. So making sure you promote yourself in the proper way on some of those social media channels. But again, getting involved with Regal, getting involved with different people to help kind of build that community aspect.
If there's any other questions about crystal rail in particular, or Regal rail, or anything, we're here to chat. We've been a bit over an hour here. Thanks for sticking around, guys. This has been awesome. It's an amazing system. Yeah, it's so fast to install. We've already touched on all of this, but we love this system. The fact that we can upgrade a client to it because of how amazing it looks, and we know that we can slam it out in half a day. It's so easy for us to put in, and that's why we love it.
Yeah, I hope you guys are all doing well as we reach the tail end of this COVID-19 pandemic. I hope that your business is starting to come in and starting to grow. We noticed that things were pretty quiet for a little while, where spring would normally be busy with a lot of calls coming in. It was much quieter, but now as this crazy heat wave has hit us, they're starting to come through. So I hope you guys are getting business coming in. And if you're not, please reach out to us. We would love to help you out in whatever way we can, whether it's promoting you on social media. It's worldwide, so we want to help you out. If you're a good person, let us know.
Don't
guys.
contact. You're a bad person.
No, yeah, if you're a bad person,
don't
we don't
like
hear from you.
Yes, Joe.
Hey guys, while we're talking about the COVID situation, I just want to point out that Regal Ideas has done something wonderful, and I hope people can support it. It's called feedthefightcanada.com and feedthefightUSA.com.
Yeah.
So hopefully people can go there and donate. And what we're doing is helping feed frontline workers across North America. We really want to help out as much as possible. So hopefully the contractor community can pinch in and help with that cause as well. So again, guys, I want to thank you very much for doing this for us today. If you haven't checked out the Brolaws, again, check them out on Instagram at Brolaws or Us. Make sure you see them. And again, if you need to contact us, we're at marketing@regalideas.com. And so I just want to thank everybody for coming today at Brolaws. Again, great session. I think the quality of work you did here today was fantastic. The camera work was great. Nice job. That's a second profession for you if this doesn't work out, this contracting thing.
Absolutely. Also,
Anyway.
Andrew, you're not supposed to answer.
Good, guys. So
Chris to come down.
thank you very much, everybody. I don't think there is any other questions. I think we got it all done. So that's a wrap for module 2.
Thanks, guys.
Much love.